Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Shape for Life webinar this evening. This is the first, it's the introductory webinar. Hopefully, all of you can see the screen. If any of you have got any problems with the screen, then all you need to do, you'll see a box there that says chat. Just go into that box and just write in there if you have any problems. But I think everything looks okay. So you should all be able to see the screen. You're all muted. Later on, when I take some questions, I'll unmute you. But to start off with, you'll just be muted, and that makes it easier for everybody to hear very clearly. So, as I said, welcome to this, the first webinar of its kind. My name is Nic Jarvis. I'm the host this evening for the webinar. I will give you a bit more of my background later on as we progress through things. Tonight's webinar is very much about an introduction to what Shape for Life is, how it fits in with active nutrition, where does active nutrition come from. I'm imagining all of you are members of active nutrition. That's why you're on this webinar. And then I'm going to give you a bit of background, an overview of what's going to happen in the webinar series. So I'm just going to talk through some of the basic principles, outline for you some of the things you can expect, and also for some of the things that you might have been anticipating, but actually I'm not going to cover. So at the end of this webinar, you'll be very, very clear on what's going to happen over the next few weeks if you want to become part of it. So let's crack on. The first thing that we're going to do is just give you a bit of background about active nutrition. Active nutrition is actually part of Active Nation. Active Nation is a charity. It's a charity where our mission is to persuade the nation to become more active. So many of you, of course, will be members of Active Nation because you'll be members through a leisure centre, a gymnasium, one of those kind of things, a member of one of the clubs or something like that. But actually, Active Nation has a much broader appeal than that. It's really about getting the nation active in many different formats, and active nutrition is just one of those. Clearly, as the name says, we're going to be focusing on nutrition, but it's just not for members of the leisure centres. It's anybody really that's interested in improving their health and well-being, getting into better shape, gaining more energy. So, what's the aim for Shape for Life? Well, Shape for Life is about helping you to get in the best shape of your life. And two important things here, whatever that means to you. So we're not going to define what getting into the best shape of your life is. It's really going to be down for you. You decide what that is. And the other aspect about it, which is really, really important, for life. So as I go through, I'll give you a bit more of my own background. And the thing that really gives me a great deal of sense of fulfillment is helping people to make a change, but make that change permanent. So some people come to me and they're looking for short-term goals in terms of getting into great shape, losing weight, etc. And I'll quite happily work with people on that. But slowly but surely, I want them to transform how they see the activities they're going to do into permanent change. And the reason why I want them to actually begin to focus on permanent change is because rather than go back yo-yoing, achieve success for a short term and then revert things, I always find it better if I can help someone achieve success and make that permanent. So that's one part of this program that you'll see becomes clearer later on. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to cover four main areas. The first is we're going to give you a bit more knowledge around nutrition and exercise. What is required for you to achieve your goals? Now, the first point about this is I'm not going to spend a considerable amount of time on your nutrition and on your exercise. There are other sources you can go to get that. So I'm going to touch on it, but the website that we provide for you really is a phenomenal website. And it was one of the things that really attracted me to get involved with active nutrition. I think the website is a phenomenal tool for you, and it'll provide you with a lot of information on your nutrition. And secondly, from an exercise point of view, most of you are connected in some kind of way to one of the Active Nation centers, and so you'll have connections to a gym. It's relatively easy to get information on the exercise. I am going to touch on it, some of the basic principles of it. But really there are the sources where you can go and get nutrition and exercise help. This webinar series is predominantly about helping you to understand the challenge of change. So once you know what you should be doing from a nutrition point of view or an exercise point of view, what I'm going to help you to do is actually understand how you resolve the issues of change, and so you achieve permanent success. And that's the key thing for me. So these points two, 3, and 4 here are more important. I'm going to help you to understand what's going on, and then I'm going to teach you a process to go through to help you resolve any challenges so you achieve your goals. And then I'm going to help you gain the support that you need. And one of the forms of support is going to come through these webinars, going to come through me, but there's many other types of support that you can tap into. So this webinar series is predominantly about, so how do you make the changes necessary for you to achieve your goals? Once you know that you should be eating in a particular way, once you know how you should be exercising and how active you should be, how do you make that success? So who's the webinars for? Well, actually it says anybody who's looking to, and really the first word is the most important. It's for anybody. Anybody that wants to get into better shape. Some people call that toning up. It could be for people that want to increase their energy levels, become more active, because underlying all of this is a behavior change process. So whatever it is you want to achieve, it applies to any goal. And this is actually one of the important things that I mentioned when I talk about my background. I've coached a lot of people in all different fields, and the principles behind change actually remain the same. And all I've done over the last few years is applied the principles of change and the process for change to helping people to get into great shape. So any goal that you've got, really, we can help you with here. Weight loss might be something for you. You might have been injured. You might have been a sports person who's looking to get back into better shape and look back to playing your sport. And as I said earlier on, you might have a short-term goal. You might have a wedding coming up, or you might be looking to go on a holiday and want to look fantastic on the beach. And that's, all these short-term goals count as well. I have no problem with working with people on a short-term goal. I might actually be helping you to transition to the idea of making permanent success. If you're going to get into great shape for your wedding and you've got these phenomenal pictures that you're going to look at in 10, 15 years' time, then why don't you want to be in the same shape you were actually on your wedding day? So we'll be talking about that more as we go through. So everything starts really with, what is your goal? So what is it you want to achieve? Now, I also recognize, having worked with hundreds of people over the decades that I've been involved in this, that some people will be on the webinar purely because they've got an interest. There's something that sparked their interest. They've seen something. It might have been on the website. It might have been on the Facebook group. It sparked their interest, and they said, I'm going to come on just to see what it's all about. Actually, I know that if you've done that, if you're on because you just sparked your interest, there's something that you want to discover, and that will connect you with your goals. So often when I'm talking about goals with people, I talk about achieving the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself can be in any aspect of life you want. But in this case, of course, with active nutrition, it's predominantly about getting into really good shape, toning up, gaining lots of energy, being active. So it's around that, but it's about how you define it. I mentioned this earlier on when I talked about what we're trying to achieve, getting into the best shape of your life for life, but it's how you define it. There's no right or wrong. So, we're not going to be using body mass index or anything like that to say what your goal should be. This is something that you choose, and excuse the pun, but will be shaped over time as well. It's likely to change. I've working with hundreds of people on this kind of thing. I'm well aware that you start off with one intention, and that intention can change over time, and that's great. It does, and by the way, you don't have to have a perfect goal now. You might not even be sure what your goal is, and as part of the process of going through the webinars, I'll help you to discover that. More importantly, we'll actually help you to discover your why as well. I'm not going to touch on that much tonight, but as we go through it, I'm going to help you to discover why it's really important for you to achieve the goal, and how that will help you to build your motivation to help you carry you through some of the obstacles and challenges you face. That leads on to the next point, really around your goal. This is very much about a journey. you're going to achieve some success, and then you're going to achieve some obstacles. You're going to bump into some obstacles. You're going to be challenged by them. You might drop out. You might stop the webinar series. You might feel really exhilarated at some points and then really down at others. Getting into great shape is a challenge. And if anyone ever says to you, change is easy, they're very mistaken. And the proof is the fact it's around us all the time. If change was easy for people to do, every one of us would have what we want in our lives, and we would all be in the shape that we desire. And the fact is, we're not. And we're not because change is challenging. So one of the things I want to prepare you for is that, and that's why you need support. We all need support as we go through the change process. And I'll be talking to you very much over the coming weeks of how you can get that support and how we can help you. So another aspect of the goal, as I mentioned several times, I want you to achieve permanent success. I want this to be the time that you really go forward with your intention to be successful and you make it lasting. So for me, that's very, very important, but I'm not naive. And lasting might mean you might have 5 or 6 attempts at it. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is I help you to keep coming back, and keep coming back until you achieve what you want and maintain that. I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment. So another aspect about this for me is sustainability. And sustainability is not, we're not going to look for some short-term cuts. I might use some tools that help you to achieve short-term success, but they'll always be on the basis that actually everything turns into sustainable things for you. So what I'm really looking to help you to achieve is lifestyle change. If you can achieve lifestyle change, then you'll be able to achieve permanent success. These won't be temporary results that you get and then they disappear. There'll be things that you'll be able to have, hopefully, and I'm not exaggerating, for the rest of your life. So let me just talk about the journey that you're going to go through towards achieving your goals. And it is a journey for me. I'll mention this several times. And I talk about 3 phases in terms of getting into great shape and then maintaining it. So let's just start off. Say your current weight is 160 pounds and you want to get to your goal weight of 120 pounds. Now, I know we in the UK use stones and pounds. I'm using pounds in this example because it's just much easier to demonstrate to you. But by all means, just convert them. But so 160 pounds, and you want to get your goal weight to 120 pounds. So that means you want to lose 40 pounds in weight. So the first thing that we do is we set the first stage for you. So your first stage is the weight that you want to lose divided by 2. Because although we say you can, and doctors will tell you that you can lose a maximum of 2 pounds a week, actually that's not true. You can lose significantly more than 2 pounds a week. But over time, actually, that is about the right weight, 1 to 2 pounds a week. Now, initially, you're likely to actually lose considerably more than that, but that will peter out and slow down. But over time, estimate it about 1 to 2 pounds a week. So if you want to go from 160 pounds to 120 pounds, the first thing is we set a time period for you. And this is what we call the fat loss phase. So what we're trying to achieve here is fat loss. And by the way, I describe it as fat loss and not weight loss because if you describe it as weight loss, you might be losing parts of your body that are really important for you. And that could be your lean body mass, which we'll talk about later on. So in this first phase, we want to create calorie deficit. So that means that the amount of food we're taking versus the amount of energy we're expending goes into deficit. Now, this is very, very important to help achieving success. Now, one of the things that we have a problem with for many, many people is when they achieve this goal, say at 20 weeks, they actually stop and then begin to put the weight back on. So this line that you see, this dotted line going up, is a representation that happens to most people. Most people actually put the weight back on. Now, why do they put the weight back on? Well, because they think they've achieved their goal in the first phase. They think their goal is to lose 40 pounds in 20 weeks. Well, it's not if you want permanent success. If you want permanent success, you've got to look at it from a different angle. And the different angle is in the first phase, all you've done is achieved physical shape change. Very, very important. But what you haven't done is achieved mental change. Now, mental change, as you'll come to see through the webinar series, is the most important thing. This is the thing that dictates what you do. What is in your mind, how you see yourself, the picture that's stored there, your identity, it has many terms for it, is the thing that drives your behaviors. So if you merely lose weight, change shape, but don't change the picture of who you are in your subconscious mind, you will revert back to the behaviors of somebody of 160 pounds in this case. So what you have to do is you have to go through the second phase, which is the transformation phase. And the second phase lasts as long as the first phase. And this phase is where we have calorie balance, but it ensures that you keep the weight off. So this phase is as, if not more important than the first phase. The first phase is the physical change. The second phase is the mental change. And if you successfully go through the second phase, then you can go into the third phase, the maintenance phase, which can be for the rest of your life. Now, you might have some relapses, but we'll talk about that as we go through the webinars. But this is what we're trying to help you achieve. We're not just trying to help you achieve the first phase, which is how most people set themselves up. We're trying to actually help you achieve permanent, lasting success. So when you set your goals, and I'll talk about this at the end, begin to think about, okay, how much weight do I want to lose? Divide that by 2. That will tell you the number of weeks it's going to take. And then think about it in terms of these 2 phases, the fat loss phase and the transformation phase. And if you can get your head around the transformation phase, then you will have a much, much greater chance of achieving your goals and keeping the shape you want to be. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, well, for many years, and I spent over 30 years connected with the health and fitness industry, we've emphasized exercise and activity as being the key component of success in terms of shape change. And then I gradually became to believe that that wasn't the case. And the reason I came to believe that is because of the lack of success that we were achieving. And so I looked much more into nutrition. And now I believe that actually nutrition is the greater component in terms of getting into greater shape. Nutrition is the key to that. Now, is working out and exercise important? Absolutely it is. And all the statistics show that those people that can create an exercise habit have a far greater chance. In fact, it's estimated at 35% greater chance of keeping their weight off. But there is this shift, I think, in people's minds that needs to change. But actually, there's something even more important than those 2 things, even more important than nutrition and the exercise. It's your mindset. So nutrition might be 80%, working out might be 20%, and I can have that argument with personal trainers and everything. But what I do know is your success will come down to your attitude, to your mindset. And really, that is what this webinar series is about. The webinar series is about how we can help you to get the mindset of somebody that really is set up to achieve your goals. And that's where I'll be placing most of the emphasis. So I think this diagram really demonstrates for me and sums up most of my kind of philosophy on this. At this moment in time, you're in your comfort zone. You have a set of behaviors that achieve what you've got. So the weight you are, the shape you're in, the energy that you have is a direct reflection of the behaviors you do, the actions you take. And this we call your comfort zone. Now, if you want to achieve something else, unfortunately, what you've got to do is step outside your comfort zone. Why? Because you've got to do things differently than you're currently doing. If you continue to do what you're currently doing, you'll continue to get what you're currently getting. So what I've got to help you to do, and everybody in active nutrition will help you to do, is step out from your comfort zone into an area which is different for you, and therefore it's going to be uncomfortable. That's why I talk about the challenge of change being uncomfortable. But it's where the magic happens, because when you're outside your comfort zone, you'll be doing things differently than the way you currently are doing it. And if I can help you to step outside your comfort zone and stay outside your comfort zone long enough to create a new comfort zone, then you can create a new set of behaviors which will enable you to achieve different results and lasting change. And really, that's my mission. That's what makes me passionate about what we do. And I think everybody in active nutrition will go along with that. So this is why we need to talk about mindset and we need to talk about support, because it's challenging for you. So very briefly, I'm just going to touch on this. And you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a guy called Bruce Lipton. You don't have to Google him, but if you do, if you go to YouTube, you'll see some pretty wacky stuff. Bruce Lipton is actually kind of a bit of a hero of mine. And the reason he is because he was the first scientist that demonstrated that although we've all got our DNA, most scientists said we're set up with our DNA and therefore we are the way that we are, and that can't be changed. So if we have a predisposition for a certain disease, we're going to get that disease because of our DNA. Well, Bruce Lipton has proved that is not the case. We're able to influence through our environment changes in our DNA. Now, one of the founding principles of this is that we've got two minds. We've got our conscious mind, and there's a few people on the call tonight who I've known for many years who used to hear me teach this stuff in leadership and management development programs. And we've got our conscious mind, which actually we think, most of us think we're using all the time to make our decisions. But our conscious mind, I used to say, could hold 7 things plus or minus 2, so between 5 and 9. Actually, most of the research says it's more likely to be 3 or 4, and more cases, it's one thing in our mind. So if our conscious mind is not driving all our behaviors, what is? Well, it's our subconscious mind. So 95, 99% of our behaviors are driven by our subconscious mind. This is very important because it's like any animal. We're conditioned to do what we do. We just get on with things. So it's very, very important to understand this concept because this is habits. So, for example, I'm talking now, and as I talk, I don't have to think. Because if I had to think, then I would struggle to be able to hold all the information that I need because I'd have to be thinking about the words. If I'm pressing, as I press click on here to move the slides forward, I don't have to think about it. So habits are incredibly important for us, but they're only important they're only useful if they're producing what we want. And unfortunately, they tend not to. So another Bruce Lipton slide shows this. Information on the left-hand side, bottom left-hand side there, energy comes in through our senses, and then it comes through a series of filters in our minds where we delete and distort things. We generalize on things, and these then come into our thoughts. What is my potential? Can I do this? Can't I do this? And whatever we think about, it drives our behaviors and we make true for ourselves. So let me simplify that. We have in our subconscious mind a set of beliefs about who we are, the way the world is, what we can and can't do, etc. Information comes in as we interact in the world, and that triggers a series of thoughts and emotions. We have what we call self-talk. And that triggers our behaviors, which triggers the results we get. And that then loops back to what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what we think about as possible for us becomes possible. What we think is impossible for us is impossible for us. But actually, it's merely a set of beliefs. Now, over time, over the webinar series, I'm going to expand on this much more. So you're going to become able to understand that actually who you are and what you do is really based upon a set of beliefs that you learned many, many years ago, and you can change them because you learned them. So potentially you can become who you want because you can do what you want. So that's going to be the underlying principles that we're going to follow in the webinar series. And it's going to connect up with what I describe as the 4 requirements for change. The first is I'm going to help you to gain the motivation to change. Now, initially, most people have powerful motivation. They have a real desire, particularly at this time of year. They're fed up with themselves, they're fed up the way they look, they're fed up the way they feel, etc. So they have a motivation to change. But I'm going to help you turn that into a motivation that's lasting. Not just for a week, 2 weeks, a month, but something that's permanent. The second thing is I'm going to help you get rid of the obstacles that are currently stopping you from changing on a permanent basis. So there are some things that are creating your current comfort zone that become habits of yours. I'm going to help you to discover what they are and then to cut loose from them, to free yourselves from them. The third thing we're going to help you to do is create a plan of action, is put in place the tools that you need to ensure you're continually moving forward, so you move from where you are today to where you want to be. And the fourth thing is we're going to help give you the support necessary to step outside your comfort zone and take those changes, even when you're experiencing a bit of difficulty. So how are we going to provide you with the support? Well, first and foremost, there is the website. Now, on the website, there's lots of very useful pieces of information for you. You might struggle a bit to find everything that you need. You need to do a bit of research into that. But, there's the programs, there's the meal plans, there's all those kind of things. There's also some stuff that I'm putting on there and will be loaded over time. And there'll be little videos, me giving you some tips on things that you want to think about. There are some already on there, and I'll be adding to those as we go through. There'll be also blog articles. So I'll put some little articles on. Again, there are some on there, and I'll be adding to those as we go through the program. So you've got to read those in your own time, and they'll give you lots of advice. You'll be able to post your questions as well, but there's an even better place than on the website. So on the website, there's a little message place. That's going to get a bit bigger. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of the website, so you can see that. So you can contact us, and I'll be able to answer your questions for you. So I'll be providing you with much more tips. The other thing I should say about the website is, it's incredible value at £2.99. So get your family and friends on there, and there's a really important reason for that. As you go through this journey, you're going to experience a degree of discomfort. You're going to be outside your comfort zone. And if you've got people that are close to you that are also on a similar journey to you, it will help you. And maybe create a little support group, all working together. Doesn't have to be exactly the same goals, but similar goals will help you to achieve your success. Also, we've got a Facebook community. You might have seen the Facebook community. The link is there, www.facebook.com/active nutrition. I think it should be don't have to be .com, no. Active nutrition, and just go on there and you'll see that. Now, there's two other things that you just need to be aware of about that. First off, that's going to be a general page, but we're going to turn it into a group. So you can just see on the second picture there, image of the website, there's on the left-hand side there, I've just put it in red. It's very, very small. I do appreciate that. Is the groups. Okay, so if you go to group, if you go to the left-hand side of the Facebook page and you look down, you'll see groups in there. Now, if you go in there, that's the community. And in that community, you'll actually be able to post things that you're doing. You'll be able to post questions. You'll be able to post ideas. We'll be putting things up there in terms of meal plans and exercise ideas. All of those things will be in the group as well. So we'll be moving from just having the front Facebook community to actually going to group, which will be people on this webinar series, sharing things. You'll be able to visit that group on the bottom image there. You see on the Active Nutrition Facebook page, you'll say, I've just also highlighted in red there, it says visit group. You'll be able to visit the group and go in there straight away as well to post your things. But we'll come back to that and talk more and more about it. I think actually I should emphasize this is really, really important. The more you can interconnect with other people, interconnect with us as well, the greater the chances of your success. We'll help you to increase your accountability. We'll provide all the support you require as you're outside experiencing difficulties, experiencing challenges, and sharing with other people who are on a similar journey to you, experiencing similar things to you. They'll provide you with some feedback and some help as well. So who am I then? Well, I've spent over 16 years. I've actually spent a total over 30 years in the health and fitness industry. I came straight out of university. I actually did my original degree as a physical education teacher at Exeter. I didn't want to go into teaching. I joined the health and fitness industry many, many years ago. It was a young, exciting industry, which was fantastic. And I ended up running health and fitness clubs, chains of clubs, which was great. And then I went into the corporate wellness sector, and I ran 49 programs for different companies, some very, very large companies throughout the UK. This is where I really got into the behavior change side of things. What enables people to be successful in the long term of improving their health and well-being. I then left the health and fitness industry for a bit, and I worked in management development, leadership training, executive coaching. I brought that back into the industry. I was really, really passionate about the health and fitness industry. I wanted to bring about change. And then I went through a very exciting period working with some chains of health clubs and some big organizations of personal trainers, teaching coaching skills to personal trainers, behavior change, frontline people. My personal mission is to free people so that they flourish. I do that in a number of ways. I help people to see the possibilities of success. I help them to cut the limitations that they have that are keeping them back. And one of the things I really try and help you do is create a framework for you to work in and then provide you with the support on an ongoing basis. So that's my background. We'll get to know each other a bit more as we go through the process. We'll also on the webinars be sharing some success stories, people that have really achieved great results. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people getting into great shape, and also hundreds of people teaching them how to help other people to do it. I love what we do. I find it very, very fulfilling. And we'll get some people on the webinars. It could be, some of you guys on now, if you wish to do so, to talk about the challenges you face, how you've overcome them, and how you've achieved success. The end of each week, what I'll do is set you some actions, purely optional. They're not compulsory. They're up for you. You choose whether you want to do them or not. We'll chat in between as well about them. So the first couple that I've suggested here, you might want to be thinking about is to map out your journey. Remember I showed you that graph, the 3 phases in the graph? You might want to map that out. So the first phase is the fat loss phase. And to set your goal there, all you've got to do is think about how much weight you want to lose and divide that by 2. So take the total, divide it by 2. That gives you the time scale for the fat loss phase. The second phase then is exactly the same period of time. That's the transformation phase. That's where we're going to really work on the mental side of change. The second action is, it might be a good idea for you. You might already have got people involved, but find some people who might want to help you. People that might want to go on a similar journey, people that might want a slightly different journey, but they want to get into great shape, and people that might work with you to form a support group, because the more people you can get around you, I think you'll find it'll be beneficial for you. So that's me done. Now what I'll do, if you've got any questions, I'll take questions from you all. Very, very straightforward. And all you've got to do is you go down to the chat box and just put in there any question you have. Put in any question and I'll take the questions in order. And so I've got a question from Anna, and could you give that weight in kilograms, please? So all you have to do to get kilograms is divide pounds by 2.2. So if someone's 100, I'm a bit crude on this, but if someone's 160 pounds, then they're 80 kilograms. But just take 160 divided by 2.2 and you get your kilograms. So that's the easiest way of doing it. So any other questions from anybody? It doesn't look like we have. So that all that leaves me to tell you is that these webinars are going to be on a regular basis, every Monday evening, 8 o'clock. And you can sign in. We'll put the link up on the Facebook group for you. You just sign in the same kind of way. Come on. It's not compulsory. You come every week. Sometimes you're going to be able to, sometimes not. But feel free. Very, very comfortable for you to do it whichever way you want. If you have got some more questions, you set your goals and you're not sure about stuff, then please go into the Facebook community group, ask your questions, any challenges, no matter what. I will come back to you as soon as I can. I'll answer them on behalf of the Active Nutrition team. We're really looking forward to working with you and helping you achieve your success. So, Abby, what is the name of the next session, please? It's all about Shape for Life. I don't have a specific topic. I will by the time I've got round to it, but I've mapped them all out, but I don't deal with a topic a week. I deal with particular issues, so it's not possible for me just to give a subject name each time. I hope that answers your question, Abby. Okay, so Matt, will I get better results if I work out with an active buddy? Fantastic question, Matt. My response to that is yes. And the reason why I always advocate people to work out with a buddy, not just with a buddy, but also, from a nutrition point of view, everything is because if you take advice from an expert, say a personal trainer, or you take advice from a nutritionist, they're actually not on the same journey as you. I'm not on the same journey as you, but I can help provide you with advice from an observer perspective, a step back. But if you can actually work with somebody who's on the same journey as you, then I think you're going to get much greater success, because you'll challenge each other, you'll hold each other accountable, but more importantly, you'll be like-minded. You'll know about each other's difficulties. You'll empathize with each other. And so all of those things combined, if you're working out with somebody, you get up, you're more likely to get up in the morning and go and have your session. You will work harder in your session. If at the same time, if you're looking at nutrition with somebody and you're roughly on the same plan together, you can actually share things, what you've had difficulties with, what you haven't. You can hold yourself accountable. So I really wholeheartedly agree with that. I think it's a great way to do it. So I think that's all the questions. Thank you very much for those questions. As I said, I'll get onto the Facebook page and be very keen to answer any questions you have there too. Thanks very much for coming on tonight, and I wish you the best of luck.